we are going to see the first teams, well, not the first teams, but this first match of the night. My name is the Mansa, and with me, of course, today is the man of class. I'm terribly sorry about the speech drops right now.
No worries, no worries. How are you tonight, Ollie? We got a match on the hands. It's the first one we're doing with the cup here, so that's very nice to see. Starting on Ilios, two lovely teams going to Lighthouse. Everything's very illuminating. They're about to start picking their heroes because the doors are already opening. It's all great. It's all good fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well, and for those of us who do not know, both Classy and I, we are situated in the European Union, which means that we are right now at 3:30 in the morning. So some hiccups are expected, but we will see what is going to happen here with 10 seconds on the clock. Tell us quickly about the compositions before we hop in.
I see a 3-3, and I see, what do I see on the other side? Looks like a 2-2-2 actually, with the Soldier and a Mei, looking to have the Moira and the Lucio as a support. It's not something you see very often, but it could definitely work out. Obviously, we're not playing at the highest level of competition here, so some changes are to be expected.
Exactly, and immediately both teams do not wait for the clock as Blank sends the Reinhardt flying 6-0 goes down in a Lucio versus Lucio boob sounds, baby. Trying to find and actually finding that Mei, and now immediately a nice little push here coming in. That gives the real estate over to the shit. I forgot the team names.
That is completely fine. No, it's no worries. I mean, that happens to the best of us. We're looking at Solar Eclipse for Breaking Wave. Breaking Wave is in the red here, for anyone who doesn't know. Solar Eclipse in the blue. So we currently have Breaking Wave here, having control of the point. And they were very eager to start the match, and they were definitely showing their play. And now Trintless is already starting with the far out here.
Exactly, and look at that. Look at Trintless here in the backline, not really being bothered by anyone, as they are just able to harass everyone from the sides. Even though Peep finds the enemy Lucio, so there is not an immediate change of a real estate right there, as these teams go up and over against it. Look at Peep. Peep finding that Pharah again. Another Mercy all alone as the Reinhardt charges in. Fantastic by Valve, but a bit ballsy and immediately being punished here by Sans Baby, holding that real estate up there. And it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, it's really good from Breaking Wave here. They were able to come back into that, losing a hero so early and then just still being able to pull that one back. They have now switched over to that full 3-3, and we still see the DPS coming out from the other side. So they're definitely happy to keep running this, and I do think that is a wise choice. I mean, it's obviously a very strong composition, but they are showing some cracks in the armor, and that's one of those cracks that's really showing hard.
Bob is coming in right there. There's the Justice raining from above with the Diva bomb. Immediately the counter, two people. That gives you some time as the Bob goes down as well. And still there, Breaking Wave, still holding on to that first point. Now only the Zarya and the Lucio there to get it down. There's a Sound Wave that misses most of the targets though. Peep looking for targets, having that nice little charge there as Racist Toaster takes down Flappy Bird. Now that's a sentence I never thought I'd say before. The overtime done, and that was the first round. Now this looks like a nice round of Overwatch for me, and we are looking at so much more as we have 3 more maps to go.
Yeah, Breaking Wave definitely starting off good. You know, it's taking over that first stage in a 100-0 fashion, and there were definitely moments where you saw them being under pressure. That barrage came out together with Bob, but I think they actually got 2 or 3 picks at that point. But Breaking Wave just manages to get it back with the self-destruct and manages to sustain, because that's what their composition does best. They just stand around, constantly being healed by the Brigitte and the Lucio, and they're fine. Nothing else really needs to happen. They just need to stand there and keep controlling the point. That's exactly what they did. And they're going to keep doing it, although it might have Peep here on the Genji and the Racist Toaster on the Hammond. This is a interesting. Oh, they're going with the Dive Goat. So 3 dive tanks other than the 3 more static tanks that you usually see. And the other side will have a double hit scan 2-2-2 coming out.
Yes, and I wonder if that hit scan is enough to break through that dive guards, because there's a lot of hit points on both teams. But let's see what Eclipse is going to do with that DPS as they move up onto the real estate. As Breaking Wave are just looking for a bit of cover. Trintilas picking up forward as Sans Baby just makes his first contact with the point itself. Incoming right now, the Hammond waiting for the jump, and there it is on Trintilas. 6 low in trouble as Baby is just hopping right in with an aggressive monkey. Flappy Bird taking down the hamster, but Sans Baby by that point has taken down both Rihanna and the enemy McCree, and it looks rather well coordinated here for Breaking Wave as they once again take the real estate and push back the Eclipse for a very, very nice attack.
And it's very nicely done. Like you said, Sansy Baby just jumping in, getting all the work done that he needs to be doing. And they have a lot of hit points, but they don't have that much shielding. So most of the damage that does come into them is likely going to stick. I mean, it can get healed up, but not really negated, besides from Deepa. But Sans just goes in again, is going to do the exact same thing to them.
Sensi is really ballsy there, but has that upside of very long range healing in his corner, you know. Okay, Fanting's trying to force the issue here. Will he actually go on to point? No, Santi Baby and Racist Toaster make him regret his life choices as there's a 3-man boop up right there. Santilas with the ultimate.
Is he going to get any value from that? Doesn't look like it. Had to roll away.
Now the tranquility was out, and it looks like it was more, you know, distraction than anything else. We'll see what happens though as Echo finds 6 low, but Zarya finds Echo immediately. So the healer versus healer balance is right there again. Peep, and there's a shatter going right in. I think that was a mischarge there from Barton. And he was unable to follow up on that as Blank and Sansi Baby just put the pressure right back in the other corner. Sorry.
And it's all these small things you see happening, right? Because Echo just walks into the middle of the enemy team, manages to get the kill onto 6-0. And I mean, he dies for it, but I think you'd rather have your Ana than your Luciamo situations. Now the mines come out, you just keep punishing them.
Oh, and the propaganda is out. So right now we're looking at ult versus ult with the Tobelstein in there, the Diva Bomb, but to no avail. That timer was ticking down, and there is nothing you can do about that. Very, very nice attack here, once again by Breaking Wave. And we'll see if that is a King of the Hill thing, or whether or not we already have a favorite versus underdog situation. What do you think?
It depends, right? I mean, we see Breaking Wave coming out with these very determined compositions. They're not really having to switch anything up. They really know what they want to do. The comps work. They seem like coherent compositions that we've seen before, things that just they've been proven over time. And Solar Eclipse looks very experimental. They run these 2-2-2 compositions because they want to run this DPS style, but they're not really getting their DPS in good positions. They're not able to create the right space, and it's all to do because I feel they're not really as practiced on the compositions, so these compositions are a little bit newer to work with than Breaking Wave using methods that they can, I wouldn't say just copy it from the pros, but that is almost what they're doing, right? They're looking at these three compositions that have been very popular. And there's been so many examples of how they work that it's much easier to make those work than trying to run something unorthodox against it.
No, that's definitely true. And I see that the Solar Eclipse are bringing Flummox in for the next game. Exactly, they have had a substitution out. Now, since we are so early in the league, I'm afraid we don't have any stats for these players just yet, but that is something that should come in the near future, as the production has told me. So we'll see what is going to happen here on Paris, which is going to be the next map that is going to be played by these two teams. Now, this is a classic 2CP kind of map. What are we expecting?
It's more than classic. It actually takes what we mostly see out of 2CP to a next level. So with a lot of 2CP maps, there's often this early choke. A choke point on the first point defense and the first point offense as well. But with Paris, that's an even narrower choke and a very singular choke as well. Like there's no real side entrance that you can take. Plus the respawn timer, so the respawn advantage for defense and offense are more emphasized on Paris than they are on any other assault map. So those are things that are very iconic for Paris. That's also a reason why a lot of players and a lot of teams have had a lot of criticism on the map, because it's so defender favored, and then a lot of or attacker favored in very weird situations. But what I'm mostly excited about is, are we going to see something with Orisa compositions? Are we going to see Bastions? Are we going to see Junkrats? Are we going to see Baptiste? Are we just not going to see the same sort of dynamic that we just had? Because that was Alilios, it looked very dominant for breaking wave, but it could be that Solar Eclipse actually has more of a preparation on this map. They're starting on the defense, so they can definitely set the tone to maybe get like full holdout. But it will depend.
Well, exactly. So you're expecting a classic bunker comp that would just set up here on this little high ground a little bit, and that might actually just give them some time to breathe before the wave just tidal waves over them. Yes, pun very much intended. Okay, we have 20 seconds on the clock right here. What I find funny about this map, and maybe I'm not right about that, you're the more obviously the more knowledgeable of the two of us, is how this map switches from attacker favored to defender favored, right between point A and B.
Yeah, and you would think that the first point should be defender favored, and then to a large degree, if you have a very strong chokehold, it can actually be very defender favored on both A and point B. But it's always a bit weird with assault maps. That's like part of why it changes a little current PTR coming in. That you see this dynamic of, if you win the first point convincingly, then you can just roll on with the ultimate advantage and win. And because the points are further apart from each other, and the spawns are further apart from each other than other assault maps, that is sort of a dynamic that starts to disappear a little bit. Because a pick on the attacking team, especially when they attack point B, is so much more punishing. So yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. But we see bunker. We
exactly. I was about to say there's a farm. There was a farm, Steve. So that is the interesting double punch of cheese, as I would call it. This is fantastic, just cheese from a tube. Let's see, on the other side here, we see a classic, jumping comp, the jumping bodies here with the Winston and the D.Va, flanked by some flanky DPSs and some, one long-range healer and the Lucio.
Yeah, and especially the Nano Blade and EMP combo is that's always like the Hail Mary. If you can't break it with that, you'll never break it. So that's why you see this combo come out. Exactly. But they still need to execute it, and there's a lot you can do as a team.
Racist Toaster jumping in and testing the water as Blank is still there on the backline, together with Pete, both of them not down. Well, I said that when Trinidad finds the double, Flummox taking Racist Toaster out of the map, and suddenly it looks as if the Wave are in trouble here, with 3 people actually being caught out. No way out of that. The only one who is firing into that shield is a mini D.Va right there, and just waiting for that mech to come back up, hoping to be able to just boost out of it, but I don't know how much time they're actually going to put into that. Brintlax now finding the side lanes here, as there is a cheeky little thing going on the side, but at least he's expecting it. Peep actually being shot out of that stealth, with Baby now on point. That Farah holding the fort in the back very well. Blank and Toaster, in the meantime, holding that Bastion accountable for his actions. And Thrillax finds 2 targets yet again here, straight on point. So it looks like the wave is being broken as of this point. What do you think of this early attack up till now?
I think a very big problem with Breaking Wave is having is that Racist Toaster just consistently has been standing in this police station. He's now finally going to get taken out. With that entire second push, Racist Toaster was just standing there. And D.Va alone is not going to threaten the Bastion and Orisa composition. So that was maybe a little bit of a misplay. Should have probably just reset earlier. Because now they only have 1 minute 40 left, and they don't even have a D.Va ult to work with, which would be very nice. But they do have the Nano Bleed EMP combo. This is the one that you would normally see break this composition, if anything.
Well, yes, on the one hand, that would definitely be true if the ult supremacy wouldn't be with the Eclipse as of this point. We'll see how they're going to play this, whether or not they can stay cool. But there is the combination, but the D.Va bomb in the counter. Blank finding 2 targets there as Toaster helps on Farten. Blank trying to find that Farah up in the air. Now that is some, well, ambitious play right there. Missing it. Racist Toaster coming in with the help. Echo on that little boosty. And being boosted himself as Thrintless finds another target. That Farah is just on fire. Just finding another 2 target with Jaswing and Peeps going down here. Immediately on the point. I don't even think that monkey shield is going to help you a lot if Thrintless keeps finding his targets. Blank going down to Flummox, but that is finally that. Flummox now alone on the point. As I say, that Flappy Birds and Sixlow are setting back up, and only 1 tick here on the real estate, so we'll see what is going to happen. This looks like a strong defense as Racist Toaster and Sansi Baby bite the baguette.
Yeah, so much power out of that Farah. It consistently shooting. The only reason why Thrintless eventually went down is because they managed to pick off Eerie. And yeah, doing a very good job here on that Mercy. Actually had to get hacked up not to be able to get the res off at some point by Peep. Peep doing a good job. And Peep has already built up another EMP. This could be another good push, but like we said, the ult economy is just...
And they're going to need it right now. That's a Diva Bomb, but the boom is huge for people. There's the bomb. This is what I call a nuclear explosion. And this just turned this entire map around. You were so close there, Eclipse. Well, that was beautifully executed.
Yeah, and like the EMP can just break that entire thing up, especially if you have such a nice bomb to combine it with. And if they had that bomb in the previous attempt, then they would have been able to already pull that off. But obviously, Racist Toaster hadn't been able to build it up. And now they're very close to the Nano Blade. They could break this open, but the Nano Blade is very hard to get off against this entrenched Bastion composition. You can just get shot down by even trying to dash towards them.
Yeah, this little platform that Flappy Bird is on, that is Bastion heaven right there. That is where he lives. Look at that. Especially with that Orisa shield perfectly situated. No peeking right there. So they're going to have to do a flank route. Let's see what they're going to do with this situation. As Thrintless is already looking for the off angle. Look at the fly.
Look at the switch off. Look to go. I don't know exactly what they're going to switch off to. Does look like they might want to go for something like a 2-2-2 with them with the Reinhardt Zarya, so they have a little more of a route where they can walk in with cover. Meanwhile, their front line just gets taken out by the Bastion over and over again. I mean, they're just trying to get in here, but I mean, there's no point in trying to get in there. I mean, for the Sombra there is like the Sombra can get some EMP charge, but you have to be able to get out, Peep. You have to get out. You can't just keep peeking and think you're gonna get away with it.
Yeah, at some point you get a rocket to the face. I mean, that is bound to happen. I mean, I would expect them to go hard on a flanking route, maybe get a hamster in there, you know, just to up the speed on that and get these guys off of that high ground, because you can see so many approaches up there, and a guy like Flappy Bird will use that, you know, that knowledge and that sight line to do exactly that. And there's his ultimate coming in. That was expected here. Blank now versus Spartan, but Thrintless is trying to hold it up, but that nano just keeps you alive for so long as both Thrintless and Farthing go down. Eerie goes down. There's another Diva Bomb right there, finding Peep and Echo going down as Flappy Bird takes Racist and Jaswing down. That attack started as quickly as it ended right there, with Flappy Bird just holding his cool head, just using the ultimate first and then just shooting the ever-living crap out of people.
Yeah, very nicely done here from Flappy. Definitely coming back. It was also very nice of Flummox to just stay away from everything, then throw in the bomb, gonna pick as well. I don't know. I mean, they have a very good grasp of this defense, and they're actually gonna go over to the McCree, so they're gonna get off the Bastion. It's gonna be a little bit less static, and I guess I can understand that because they've been a little bit under pressure there.
Yeah, exactly. And when Blank was able to jump in, take 2 targets, I thought it would have been over, but they didn't even get the first tick right there. But look at that side attack here. Double Reinhardt all the way. Phantom Winstad as Flummox takes a Santi Baby. Racist Toaster goes down as well. Flappy Bird finds Echo and Jaswing as Farton fire strikes the Blank. And this is one heck of a defense right there. Now a mobile defense that just works as a unit. What do you think about this bit?
I think they're doing a very good job of recognizing what their problem was before. They're very static. They're very open to the EMP. On this point of the map, it's far easier to just walk around with the Reinhardt and only have like a 5-meter engage rather than the 20 meters that it is on point A. So they're doing a very good job of recognizing that they just had to switch up that Bastion after they use their ultimates. And now they're close to a few others. Flemmox still has to get back into mech, but they'll have the Deadeye, they'll have the Transcendence. They'll even have the Shatter almost.
And let's see what they're doing with that. Echo leading with it, with the EMP coming straight up there. Blank finding Farthen immediately. Trintilas shot and hacked out of the sky. And now suddenly this looks different. But Sixlow there with the Tranquility getting back up their main tank. So this might just actually work. There's a shatter for Sansi Baby. And Flappy Bird tries to counter it with the time teller. But it's not going to happen. Sansi Baby still in trouble though. Helped by Peeps and a Blank. Trintilas with the Justice finds 2 targets. Okay, first tick is down as Eerie is, grounded right there by Peep. I really like Peep's Sombra, by the way, I have to say. Getting 6 out as well. But the defense holds.
Defense holds, and it's all due to just the fact that they kept getting picks as well in the defense. They were sort of trading out kills rather than overwhelmingly winning a team fight. And on Assault, that's just your detriment. It was going very well, and they were getting the picks, but they didn't keep getting the picks quick enough, and they were losing their own players inside of Breaking Wave as well. So they're not going to get much further than 48.5%, but that's still decent. I mean, that's still a win condition, of course.
I mean, 48% is definitely good on that D-point Paris.
Yeah. and like you said, Peep doing a very good job on that Sombra. I mean, definitely hitting some very good EMPs. If it hadn't been for those EMPs, they would not have even capped first, let alone kept overtake on second. So Peep very showing up a lot right now, but it kind of shows you that bunker composition, unless you have a Sombra, it's so hard to take that over. And yeah.
Speaking of which, I have to say I had to disagree with you when Flappy Bird swapped off the Bastion. Actually, I got worried rather than thinking this is a good idea, because you need that firepower to keep that Reinhardt off point, especially when flanked by a D.Va.
I think the main, because you can make arguments for both, right? So yeah, Bastion does do a lot of damage. It really helps out. But I think the main thing you really have with the McCree is that you can be much more aggressive versus a Genji and a Sombra, because you can stun out things that they want to do. Like when you can really get out invisibility, you can get the Sombra. When the Genji goes close, just flash him so he's stunned. So those are things that are very helpful. And on top of that, there's not a simple EMP target. So when a Bastion is set up, that's just something you want to EMP so you can't do the damage he does. I mean, McCree.
Yes, that is definitely true, because you can still just fire that big 6-shooter. Now look at that. Actually, the Wave have opted to copy the homework of the Eclipse right there, as they're running the exact same combination. The other side looks a bit different, with Flappy and Farten on a triple tank kind of setup together with Flemmox. Oh, Sansi Baby there, finding the see back. And but look at that. This is a much more coordinated run. Charging there with a Bastion and an Orisa just firing into you. That may be, bad planning, with Peep finding 3 targets here on that Justice. That was very early. Just finding the double approach. You cannot get in and out of the police station. I am terribly sorry, but that was a lockdown like I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I think the only thing they could maybe have counted on is trying to get the Coalescence up in time, which is up now. But now there's also a Bastion ultimate. I don't think they really needed the barrage of the defense, so that might come back to bite them. But with all this damage that they have just going into that choke and nothing really to challenge the Pharah, I think they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Farthen leading the charge right there. Actually trying to get his DPS out of that range for Peep. We'll see what's going to happen with that Moira ultimate. They're taking a scenic route around, which is, in this case, I think, the better tactical plan. Though Peep is already in position to fire at the exit right there. Blank now can set up on a very wide berth, with just Sansi Baby up there. Let's see what's going to happen with Trintlab. Just keeping the people away, though. But Sansi Baby and Blank find the targets that they need to find right there, with 6-0 launching the ultimate, the Soundwave, just to get everything done here. Trintilas finding blank though with that Bastion down. This suddenly changed Peep again on the Justice. Not finding as many targets as the last time, but that might just be that one pick that you need there. Peep getting the main tank down as well. But that point is still being contested. Look at that.
Yeah, and they're going to eventually lose this fight because they just don't have the numbers from the attacking side. So Lunar Eclipse just has to regroup a little bit. And it was such a big deal for them losing Farden in the beginning. Because if you have that Reinhardt, you can both walk in a little more safely because you have a shield. And you have so much more cleave damage, even through shields. You can just walk up to the Arisen shield and smack through it. And Blank was just free on the high ground. Standing there, was eventually pushed away, but it did actually get killed once, but then the rest came in because they have a Mercy. So
yeah, when he was able to set up there on that high ground,
they have the ultimates though.
He has
the ultimates to work with both sides. So I'm okay.
Look at that, Peep, immediately finding Eerie and Trintilas again with Flummox. That is just brutal right there. And now look at that. But only Reinhardt and Lucio are able to find it on the side. There's a nice charge and a very nice grab though, but that is to no avail as you cannot follow up on that. Once you are in that corner, Bastion or no Bastion, 5 people in your back, that is not something a Reinhardt can survive, especially after the armor nerfs from a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's really, I don't even know why he throws a Shatter out there. It just either just go and die or go and reset or do something else, because I don't think that was worth it.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's still so many ultimates for both teams. This could be
Bomb coming in, not finding anything. That was very close though, together with that Turbulstein. But look at the wave. Wave now with the ult advantage, especially with that with that Orisa Bongo still up. Now that is finally going down though. The timer is not in favor. There's the bomb for Racing Toaster. Finding another 3 targets as Sansi Baby gets Eerie down. That is one hell of a ticking over time. And the Breaking Wave take this one, I wouldn't say dominantly, but at least more coordinated.
Yeah, you gotta wonder, it's always those things where you're saying like, yeah, what if they had run a different hero? Things like, because we saw a very, very successful Sombra come out. Here we see once again, like Peep throwing out the EMP, and then the Racist Toaster comes in with the self-destruct. And you gotta wonder why there was no switch coming out from the side of Solar Eclipse at any point in time. Thinking maybe we just take a little bit of a different approach, so we can maybe do something more against this bunker composition than we do now. Because they kept just walking in through the same route, trying to do the same thing, and every single time they kind of got caught out in the exact same way.
Yeah, maybe they're just betting for the for whatever feels nice, the familiar.
Yeah,
thing.
And it's something that they've maybe practiced before, but then you got to wonder if they've played with that composition against the bunker composition, how much success they've had with that in the past, and if that's something they, because obviously this is not the first time they've seen such a composition like that. It's actually been taken over the game by storm a little bit, especially on Paris. So. Yeah. You would think that, okay, so they must have had some success with that in practice, because otherwise you don't run it in a game. Like if it always fails, then you got to find a different answer. And either they have not found the answer yet, so this is the only thing they know, or
that's right. There's a lot of roster changes going on with Solar Eclipse right now. As we see, they are taking out Eerie,
3 of their players
and Farth. I mean, they're taking out that main tank, and they're taking out the pharmacy combo that have served them so well, especially in this defensive situations. What do you think about that one?
It really depends on what you want to do. Like some organizations, teams just have more players, so they want to give everyone playtime. It could also, like you said, be more of a strategical thing. So these players have different hero pools, because we've seen Trintilas mostly being on the Pharah, and the Pharah, while it has been doing a lot, it has not been getting the value that they needed it to. But I don't think that's necessarily due to the Pharah, because we just saw him getting a lot of value, but then the rest of the team just wasn't being able to stay alive. So I'm very curious to see what the replacement for Farden is going to do, how their main tank the new main tank is going to do. Because I think that's where a lot of their weaknesses lay, is the rotation of most of their tanks. Their supports were overall, I didn't really have a problem with. As DPS were doing what they could with the space they got. Yeah, maybe more so. Maybe they did more than they should be able to be doing. I mean, that Pharah defense on Paris from Francis was actually very good. So yeah. interesting to see what the decision making is going to come out from the new main tank, because
Exactly, and especially on a map like Hollywood.
yeah, it's big.
Yeah, it's big, and there's a lot of real estate to conquer when you're a main tank, especially when you're a Reinhardt. You know, you just want to make sure that you're in front of your team by a hefty margin. You know, without just overkilling it. In order for the rest of your team to get the space that they need.
Yeah, we're gonna see the defense walk out obviously first. There's no real point in talking about the attack because they haven't really left spawn yet, so they can still switch. Yeah, we're gonna see a Zenyatta Ana defense. That is something I don't see happen a lot, other than when there's a very static composition where the mobility doesn't really matter. If you're more spread out, the Zenyatta and the Ana are often too vulnerable together as a duo, so that's why you wouldn't pick it. But it does look like they are able to just set up a little bit better. The cafe is a very nice place to hold, especially as a support, as a DPS, as a tank. Just a very nice place to be. Plus, you have infinite coffee supplies, so that always helps.
That is definitely true, especially at 4 in the morning. That is just what helps. And there's my favorite coming in. Racist Toaster is playing the Hammond, and I love a decent Hammond because that is a game changer right there. With that jumping body combination going in, people immediately trying to go for the back, but Sansi and Echo being held up there by Flappy Bird in that little cafe up there. Blank and Jazzwing, I don't know why they are still in there. What are you still doing there? You do not have the body advantage. And that just means that you will need to wait for a tiny bit longer before being back with the rest of your team. I don't know why they didn't just back off there. This looks a bit staggered for me.
Yeah, it does look a bit staggered, but obviously, once again, it's not the highest level of play. So all those quick resets and all the nice strategical play and just the automatic, oh, we've lost this fight, we're going to pull back. That's something you see happen in Overwatch League. You won't necessarily always see that happen here.
Jumping in on the Hanzo, trying to find something to do with that. Very, very aggressively as Flappy Bird launches the ultimate and takes him down. Racist Toaster still alive though. Sansi being rezzed by Jazzwing, but giving up their life to do so. I don't know whether or not that was the best thing to do right there. With Sombra just backing out. Sombra saw the writing on the wall, and I think they're resetting right there. And you can tell us what
they're not.
Trying to tell us.
They're not resetting because Racist Toaster's going in already with another jump. Has the mines online, it goes very low. So now they have a little bit of a pause. Does look like Sansi Baby already wants to jump back in. I think they're going to go around a little bit. They want to try a different angle of approach, just going around the back here. But they need to get everyone there. And Jazzwing's the last one.
Exactly, and Toaster is launching up there. Maybe a bit hard there with that EMP. Blank finding the target. I think Racist didn't want to waste his mines, even though that is perfect real estate for him. There's a counter bomb coming in from X finding Jazzwing as Peep finds 6-0. And there is a nice little hack on a Diva. And, you know, when you hack a Diva, it's just one big old battery. So it's the nicest thing in the world to do. And that is the first third of this capture going over, and I do not think that
they won't be able to get more. They won't be able to get back in and defend for longer. But still, 2.5 minutes, nothing to sniff at, and very nicely done. You do see Flappy Bird now going over to the Sombra as well. They just want to try and match that EP. They've seen the power, so now they want to use it to their own demise. And Racist Toaster could have a lot of trouble with this Sombra. That's like the main thing. So people already going down here. They might not get as much free real estate as you normally see on this map.
That is exactly that, you know. On the other hand, Toaster still has that ultimate, so it could be a real problem here if they can find that opening. Blank and Sansi Baby trying to capture the high ground. That might be a good indication. But Sansi is hacked and needs to pull back right there. Blank getting Flummox out of that Diva Bomb, and there we go. That's a shatter with the bombs in the back line. This could go either way as Blank finds Toasty Crawler, and Flappy Bird indeed takes down Racist Toaster for that juicy bit of ult charge.
Jazzwing even gonna get a res back in, so that's not okay. So he's still in the Mercy just because they have the Valkyrie up. Don't want to give up that ult charge. But yeah, they're not finishing off targets very well here on the defense. I would like to see them try and do that a little bit more, chase targets down, because there's a lot of targets going low. You've highlighted a few times, and then the target just gets away. Doesn't even get healed up very quickly. Now Sansi Baby going very aggro with this primal though. Once you
Yeah, but that is exactly what you need to do. This is what we call the real estate maker right there. That second point, get that time bank back up. I mean, that was just beautifully executed. With Toaster now going in, you know, still making that little bit of real estate. Especially with Flappy Bird, you know, underwhelming me on the counter there. There's an ultimate for Peep. Let's see what they're going to do with that, though. Bomb coming in, not finding any targets. There's the Danger Noodles coming right in there as Jazzwing goes full Battle Mercy and just tries to find that X-Wing fight. Blank in the ultimate, going in on the target. 6-0 responding there with the Tranquility. As Echo goes for the revenge kill on Toast Crawler. Well, Toa Crawler? I don't know. Blank finding 6-0, and that payload is not stopping anytime soon. These guys are just, you know, paid parking this thing all the way to the rest of this place, unless the Eclipse can, you know, bundle up, do something about this. Let's see what they're going to do with this.
Yeah, and a big deal about it as well is that they've kept using this Transcendence and not getting any kills while using it. And that's a big deal, because you're basically invulnerable against the composition that they're running right here. So
exactly.
You should be able to get some free damage out, right? But they're not able to do it. There's the EMP for Peep, and it looks like it's going to be a very quick finish here.
Exactly, you know, those mines just give you so much room to maneuver. Flappy Bird, you know, the only one showing their face even near the payload, going down in nanoseconds. There's that, you know, that ulting Sobek still on the point, giving it some times together with 6-0, but that is the hack. And 6-0 now in trouble. Toe Crawler and Cooper are going to try getting it back in. Flappy Bird doesn't have an ultimate, so there's not much that they can do, even though they get that Mercy down. Blank just with that blade for good measure, but that was that first round. Very well done.
Yeah, such a good time bank as well. It's not just that their attack was strong, it's just they took a while to get the first point. It took them like 2.5 minutes. And then afterwards, they just kept steamrolling through because they had 1.5 minutes left, and after point A, and they finished with 2.5 minutes. So that basically means they gained a minute after that, which is,
I mean, first of all, you had that ultimate on the monkey right there, and you know, Racist Toaster, even though they counterpicked him with the Sombra, made a lot of free real estate with that pressure, I believe.
Yeah, and sometimes it just has to do with the fact that either Racist Toaster is very familiar, you know, playing against a Sombra, knowing where to position because the Sombra won't be there or will be there, or they're very good at countering the Sombra. Could also be that Flappy Bird just isn't that familiar with playing Sombra in general. So a lot of good Sombra players right now they just know how to play against Wrecking Balls because, generally speaking, you know, he comes in, you hack him, and he just kind of a sitting duck. But yeah. If you're not that familiar with the Sombra, or if you're not familiar as a Sombra versus the Hammett matchup, then I can understand that being a little bit tricky. And we're going to see, once again, this bunker setup on the defense. And we saw them have a lot of trouble breaking this the first time round. So I'm very curious to see if they're going to change anything up on their approach as opposed to Paris.
And they're playing mobile bunker with Peep opting for that Symmetra. So this could actually just work out, especially in their favor, you know. You just drop that teleporter pad and, you know, you let the entire bunker comp just hop positions. That is so much fun to see.
Yeah, how they're going to deal with that, I don't exactly know. We'll see. I'm curious if we'll see a self-destruct being teleported. That's what I want to see.
Blank not really getting getting some tank right there, with only Racist Toaster's defense matrix keeping him alive. Sobek immediately going down though, because, you know, running a Winston into a Bastion is not going to be much fun for you, I'm afraid. Toecrawler trying to find some targets. A Sansi Baby is taking down a Cooper. Flappy Bird still in the back there, trying to get some pressure on that bunker comp, and of course some ult charge, so that might just actually work out in their favor in the long run. But for that first attack, that is not very dangerous at all.
No, it does seem like the DPS don't get their ults as fast on the defense as opposed to Paris, where they obviously have that barrage and that tank mode up after their first fight. They don't have the Symmetra or the Bastion ult up right now. And there is a barrage for Toecrawler. Whether that will be any good or get any value, that's another question, because they do obviously have this Baptiste that can put down the immortality field. You can maybe just teleport away from it. There's options for the defense.
Exactly that. Plus, you need to get close, and Blank doesn't make that easy for you on that bastion. And they're taking the scenic route. Let's see what they're going to do with it. Okay.
So you want the Pharah to get above this roof, above the cafe, so she can actually get very close before the rush.
Oh, Justice into the shield, into the counter shield, not finding any targets though. I wonder what that was about. Racist Toaster, 6-0 and Tower Crawler. Racist Toaster, really fantastic with those Diva bombs, all 9. So this is fantastically played right there as Blank charges the ultimate as well. Only finding 1 target, but that was mostly because his team already cleaned it out right there. I wonder whether or not that was just bad timing on Blank's side, or whether or not that was a coordinated defense effort in their point. But at the end of the day, it worked out, so all good in my book. 1 minute 45 still on the clock.
Yeah, the biggest problem there for the attackers was that the immortality field wasn't taken down. They actually, you saw a lot of damage coming on the defense, but they just couldn't finish off the immortality field, so the last damage actually stuck as well, and the kills were coming through. So the other one dying there was Peep, and then they have a Mercy, so Rez will just come out. There is a EMP now, and there's not a lot of positioning to deal with the EMP here. They're just not really doing anything to save themselves from it, I suppose.
I wonder if they are even counting ultimates, whether or not they are counting on that EMP to come out. If anyone is saying, hey, they might just have EMP, but right now they're just stalling it out. There it goes, boom. Okay, due to the height difference, that wasn't as big a bomb as it could be in terms of pure kills, but fantastically done. Soax and Shitlow now sitting in there with Flappy Bird just cleaning up the point, and the real estate goes over to the Eclipse. Very well executed, very well timed, really nice counting, and I am sure that the Eclipse are looking at each other and are quite happy with the way that one turned out.
Yeah, especially now that they're still trying to set up this bunker on the high ground, but they're missing the elevator, so Blank has to now go to a bit of a weird position without the Orisa. Sansi Baby already being taken down, so they're just feeding over these kills that they really don't need to be doing. And that's gonna come back to bite them. It's gonna come back to haunt them. And Blank and Echo still trying to run away, but they're not gonna live. They're gonna die eventually. It's just all buying time here for the attack.
Especially, trying to run away on a bastion is like trying to find the slowest train and making it from New York to LA in a single day. That's not going to happen at all. I mean, Toe Crawler finds Jazzwing right there. Immediately, look at that. The Eclipse now in a position to just park this puppy straight up, Sansi Baby, there's nothing Sansi Baby can do against that Pharah up there, unless being aided by other teammates. So they're not being able to get even close to that second point there. And there's the propaganda coming in for Flappy Bird. I don't know why they would launch that, but maybe in a, in an attempt to just park this thing, and Sombra ult getting back up again. There's a nice little bomb there. 6-0 launching the ultimate, forcing the tranquility. I think the Diva bomb was actually worth to do that, but we'll see how this will play out in the long run. Toaclaw actually finding Blank and Jazzwing as Flappy Bird gets Toaster out of that mech, and the payload has been parked. And look at that time bank, 3 minutes going in. Talking about gaining a minute, the Eclipse saw what the Wave have done and are just copy-pasting it and actually improving upon it, and that is very impressive.
Yeah, it does look like there's going to be some switches here. Sansi Baby will stick with the Orisa because often ults seem very valuable. Usually you'll see team just go to the Reinhardt, and there we go. They are going to switch over to this double hit scan. Blank was already on the McCree, Peeps now also on the Soldier. They really don't want to deal with this pharmacy anymore, but there's going to be another EMP for Flappy pretty soon, so they can just EMP Barrage, EMP Self-Destruct, and they'll just have another fight win. And there hasn't been a team fight since the point trial.
Immediately finding Echo's Immortality Zone. There's a bomb coming in on the high ground with a double kill for Blank and Racist Tosa. Beautifully done. And this is a hard push now with the Battle Mercy coming out. Flappy Bird getting Sansi Baby away. No tanks on the side of the wave. And the Eclipse are just forcing the issue. The Ana in trouble there with Flappy Bird and the Monkey going full ham on them. There's Racist Toaster now on the Hammond. Toa Crawler firing something in. there is some time indication from the McCree, but that does absolutely nothing. And even Cooper and Sixo are just pulling their weight. Sixo firing some really nice balls into that. And this is far from over. Very well done. Flappy Bird showing that he is very, very comfortable on that Sombra if they want to. And this game is open.
Game is definitely open. And I think a lot of that, sure, they played very well on the side of Lunar Eclipse. But there was such an issue from Breaking Wave coming out where they just weren't able or weren't willing, or they just didn't regroup, maybe switch up compositions. They were never actually defending anymore after that point fell. They were still stuck on the composition that they really shouldn't have been playing. Then they didn't switch off in time. Then they started to switch things off, but then it was already too late because they didn't have any ultimates on anything, and then the attackers did. So very big problem for them, recognizing if they go back over that, it's like, why are we still in this composition? Because they didn't have a team fight until late into the third point. And yeah, that wasn't even a fair team fight because they just needed to have the ultimates. It's going to be the same defense they're going to put up. Actually, Pete will be on the Junkrat this time, so no Symmetra. That will just give them more spam. I don't know if it will give them more value. That's always the question you want to ask. Yes, the potential is there. The potential for a lot of damage is there, but are you also getting that damage out? And that's the actual value you then talk about.
Exactly, and with just one shield as it looks right now on the Eclipse's roster with that great monkey, I wonder whether or not the value is there. Junkrat mainly being used as a shield breaker versus BunkerCon. Well, on
we do see the Roadhog from Toa Crawler here, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that because they don't have a something like a Orisa to halt them into position to be hooked. Maybe they're counting on Flappy being able to hack Sansu Baby, so the shield isn't there, and then they hit the Bastion away. I don't know exactly what they want to do, but yeah, Flummox already going out of mech, so that's not a good start.
Oh, Sobek going and forcing the issue yet again. But on that first point, once again versus the Bastion, it is optimistic as best as Toa Crawler is getting down as well. Peep here, speaking of value, taking down Cooper, Flummox, and Sixo with the help of Blank right there. Flappy Bird going down as well to that nice Bastion, who is now just, trying to look for those stragglers. It is as if they have heard our prayers, Suddenly they're confirming kills, trying to play the flanks. So we'll see what's going to happen next with Flummox going in on that next attack.
Yeah, there will both DPS ultimates will likely be up here for the defense. Toe Crawler are going back over to the far. Does not want to deal with that Roadhog anymore. That's so much damage over it.
Flappy, very cheeky. Very cheeky.
This could be huge if the EMP comes out in time.
That is very true, but there is no follow-up on that EMP. So I wonder what is going to happen right there. I mean, there's the propaganda, and it is called right there with Sobek just monkeying about actually being a Nano right there, just getting Racist Tosa and Sansu Baby out of position. But it doesn't look like that will be enough. I mean, Blank, look at Blank launching the ultimate. Only Flummox left on point. Toa Crawler up in the air though, as this is far from over. I would have expected them to put the button on this one in terms of the wave, and it took them a lot longer to clear that out than I expected once that EMP wore off.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that keeps happening is that Jazzwing is able to keep getting those reses off. If those reses don't come off, then you're in a much better position. I think it was actually the Orisa that got rezzed, and then Jazzwing went down after that. But if you have taken so much effort to take down the Orisa, and then the Orisa is allowed to step back up, then gets the Baptiste behind her with another Immortality field, it's just so much damage you have to do to get through that. And you didn't have the EMP, you didn't have the barrage, so yeah, that's just a problem. Also, Echo was allowed to get away, just run away from that fight, and then walk back in with full health, use the Immortality field again. Yeah. It's all these small details, and it sounds like, oh, but then you kill that hero, right? It's not that simple, obviously, but the target priority, like who do you kill first, and who do you chase, and who does what, who chases who, those are all those nitty-gritty things you have to get into once you really get into this team play thing. It's not like your casual ranked game where half of your team isn't in voice, so you try to run around. It's like you have to actually think about these things before you even get into the game. It's not the same as you don't have like 30 seconds to think of everything. No, you have already practiced these things in scrims, etc.
That is definitely true. What I did like as a bit of a highlight for that last round, Flappy Bird with that cheeky little, little snake. That was super close, and that Diva didn't know what to do with that at the first point. Absolutely. Okay, let's see.
It is Torbjorn time, though. Yeah, it is Torbjorn time, and I'm very excited to see this because they don't have that much range to deal with the Torbjorn turret. The Torbjorn turret's gonna shoot onto the point while fights are going on. It's just on the flank. And Toe Crawler, I mean, interested to see what he can do with the gun as well, because that's always the hard part. If you can shoot well with a Torbjorn gun, that's where you get the value.
Yeah, that is where you get the damage. I mean, damn it, Torbjorn primary fire is painful to see. I mean, looking at that, the Bastion right now is the bigger issue right there. As the Eclipse are just firing it in. I mean, Flappy Bird, a really nice position. Torcrawler taking Sansi Baby out. It is a tank buster, that Torbjorn. And the best thing about that Torbjorn turret is, of course, it helps in the position.
Some translocator.
They did, but Peep still managed to get away. And Flappy Bird doesn't do anything about that. Unable to do anything about that. If that Sombra wants to get away from a Bastion, usually she does.
I know they have to get really back into position really quickly because they're not there and the attackers are already in there.
On the hack right there with the Orisa as Sansi Baby jumps up, cakes at immortality field, and this could potentially be a lot of pressure that they now have to work with. But Flappy Bird uses the ultimate there on that Baptiste to take down Jazzwing, Sansi Babe, and Echo with the help of Flumming. So there's a lot of things going on there in a quick succession. But at the end of the day, Flappy Bird just holds it cool together with Sixo, who gives an ultimate that was immediately valuable, and they just clear the point easily with just 30 seconds on the clock. Let's see whether or not Peep's EMP can change any of this dynamic.
It's the big one. The Torbjorn ultimate needs to be big. It needs to deny all the space where the Dragon Blade wants to get worked on. And there he goes.
The Blade is out, and the Immortality Field is out. Let's see what's going to happen. The Propaganda not really finding a lot of targets with only 6 and Cooper and Torcrawler. But there is the Torcrawler's ultimate. The Torbjorn ultimate finding Racist Toaster. And Flummox taking down Blank. Torcrawler still in control as Sansi Baby goes down as well. Now Jazzwing and Echo in trouble as Torcrawler is in their backline. Jazzwing finding it and actually going down to that with only the Lucio alive and a Racist Toaster in trouble all by himself on that point. This does not look as if they're going to do a lot of that. Now, staggered attack, Sansi Baby on the ultimate, but immediately getting hacked by Flappy Bird here, all by himself as Toa takes the double on Blank and Sansi again, ending this round. The Eclipse win just based on time bank points and that last little bit of cap on the third map.
Very nice. I'm curious what's going to be. It's going to be Torcrawler, one of the barrages. I think was that our first point? No, it was the second. No. That was before they capped it, just before, and then they could just end it off with the barrage.
Exactly, yeah.
I think they did. I don't actually know. They might just not have used it because there were a lot of good direct hits there. Nicely done. But yeah, that was just a lot of good execution, and that was where the Torbjorn really came in, right? Because both the EMP and the Nanoblade were gonna be pointed at that Bastion. And the Torbjorn was just standing in the staircase waiting for that to happen so he could just throw the molten lava everywhere where the EMP follow-up and the Blade follow-up was going to take place. So you cannot actually stand there anymore. Then the Diva goes down. The Genji is just stranded because he can't get back because he has to go over lava. And the Sombra, I mean, I didn't even see where Peep was at that point anymore. So that was a very nice change that they did because obviously they ran a different competition before. And both teams adapting a little bit. They both changed something on their second defense, which is very nice to see. And the attacks were also a little bit different. So you see these teams, they have some plans. It's not like they're just getting into these things, which is always good to see.
That is true. That is true. Let's say up until now, players I really like is Peep on that Sombra. I mean, very good control, very good timing on the attacks, and some fantastic clutch hacks that are coming out of that. On the other hand, I really do like Sobek. Sobek's monkey has thoroughly impressed.
It's interesting actually, because Sobek is the Egyptian god who's actually portrayed with the crocodile usually. So yeah, good to see that he also does work with the monkey.
Secret skin confirmed? We will find out soon.
Maybe we'll get a
Dun,
crocodile
dun,
hero
dun.
someday. Then Sobek knows at least what to go for. But yeah, we're gonna go in here. Looks like we're gonna go to Watchpoint Gibraltar, which if we're talking about maps where 3-3 is not played all of the time, that's one, because there's just so much high ground there that snipers are going to be able to do a lot of work. Faras is still going to be able to do something. Genjis, Hanzos, just anything you really want to have going there. And still the dive tanks, which for both teams were looking very good. I think both teams have been looking a lot better when they aren't playing the Reinhardt Zarya compositions, at least in vanilla situations. Breaking Wave looking very good on that 3-3, obviously on Ilios. But after that hasn't really come back that much.
Yes, that is definitely true. But don't forget that that Sansi baby, at least, is a fantastic Reinhardt that can get a lot of value out of the positioning.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's not that they're not doing a bad job, but it's one hero doesn't necessarily always make the difference, right? That's the beauty of Overwatch. Yeah, a carry player is not something you always see. It's always enabled by a lot of other things, and we haven't seen that same value. Yeah, but we haven't seen that same value that we saw in Ilios coming out from 3-3 compositions, or at least heavier compositions after that. So I'm very interested to see what teams are going to come out with here. We might even see some sort of killdozer built up. To set up Bastion or Torbjorn or something on the card and just try to go with that.
You call that a killdozer? I call it. You call it a killdozer?
There's different names for it. I mean, you
I
can
call
also
it a pirate ship.
Yeah, you could call it a tank, like a Torbjorn tank, or a Bastion fortress, or protect the president. Or there's a lot of different names you could use for it. And the pirate ship has come in from the Junkertown era, obviously, but that was because the Orisa and the Reinhardt double shield was sort of looking like pirate sails.
Yeah.
But if you only have one shield, then you can also still call it a killdozer. Or like you could create your own tank, basically a DIY tank comp.
So, as long as you're standing there as a Bastion.
Yeah, basically that's what you're gonna go for. And it does look like they have it queued up right now. So they have a very, I wouldn't necessarily say Junkertown-esque comp, but because it looks a little bit like it. But the one difference mainly being Echo on the Baptiste and not being on the second sniper. On the defense, though, they are running this Reinhardt Diva weird 2-2-2 hybrid. This is something I've never seen before. Once again, Lunar Eclipse coming out with a little bit of an experimental comp.
Yes, that is definitely true, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For them, at least on the on Ilios, it didn't work, but they really fought their way back into this. Look at that, Blank and Sansi baby just covering all the approaches as Racist Toaster just gets the real estate up on the high ground. But this is where these things get interesting, Now they jump down and immediately the poop has hit the pirate ship as Flappy Bird is finding Peep. Blank now with the double on Phantom Tissues, Mech and Phantom itself. Sobek going down as well, and immediately the defense doesn't really have any tanks there, with Blue only in the back on the high ground, not able to hold this up, and this should be an easy clap cap for the first point.
Blue trying to stall out a little bit more so maybe the rest of the team gets to the defense, but it doesn't look like they're going to be in position.
Actually surviving that! How did Blue do that? Wait, he must have a guardian angel! That was fantastic!
I mean, a good nade from Cooper coming in, but still, that was... Flappy Bird does lose the duel to Peep in the back, so Peep no longer on the Widowmaker here. That's an interesting switch, because Widowmaker keeps being very strong throughout this entire thing. 6-0 could be big, is behind them with the Zenyatta, just pumps in the damage, actually takes on Blank and Sansi Baby. That's a huge play from the Zenyatta.
That is fantastically done.
Where's your damage?
And Phantom Tissue takes Jazzwing, Blue takes Sansi Baby, and suddenly defense has woken up. This is absolutely not what I expected. I expected to at least, get a couple of meters more in there. But 6-0, that was huge with that double on that Zenyatta all the way in the back there. How did he get that?
Right? I mean, I know why he was there, because they were still on the defense. They tried to do maybe defense, so he was already set up on the high ground. So he was just still there. And my main concern is, how did they not notice that Zenyatta took down both their Orisa and their Bastion, because that took him like over 6 or 7 seconds, and someone's gonna turn around. But now they don't have to turn around because they know exactly where everyone is, straight ahead. And
exactly, so back in the heck. Phantom Tissue going in there on Sansa Baby. I do not entirely know why they nanoed them, but that was a nice shatter with Blue and Sixo immediately taking Echo and Jazzwing for a ride. Sansi Blank following, races Toaster out of mech, and that was a really nice shatter. Just move past that Orisa shield and execute. Very well done, Sobek. Beautifully done.
And Peep has switched off to a different hero once again. Is now on the Sombra, only 50% towards that EMP. And Echo, yes, okay, so Echo has the amplification matrix. They do have another damage boost ultimate in Sensi Babies, and they have Blank's tank ult. But the defense could just hide from them. They don't have to walk into that. They can just wait and then walk away. They don't have to face them. It's not the same thing where you're on the defense. And then you see they're just waiting until Blank makes the wrong move, and they're just going in on him. Jasmine does get the res off. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Exactly, with Blackwind still going down yet again to Sobat as Sixo finds Jazzwing. Phantom Tissue with a really nice Diva on Diva bomb action. Fantastic. Sansa Baby and Racist Toaster in trouble now with Blue just pressing the button on that visor. Fantastically done right there. Okay, press the button to change to a Brigitte. That's an interesting change here for Blank.
They're going for the 3-3. It's not that weird of a change. It's a 3-2-1 actually, because it's still the Sombra. The EMP is almost up. But both sides weren't really using a lot of ultimates. The defense still has 5 in the bank, so this is going to be a huge nano visor potentially, or another nano ultimate. But the EMP trade, like who's going to get the better one off? That's the question, because they're now just dueling vanilla, and Peep's
and they're looking for it. Look at that. Peep immediately with a great EMP, but the counter EMP. Sobek with another great chatter right there as they take out a lot of targets here. Blue in trouble versus Blank there, going down, and it actually looks like this time the Wave have been you know, able to
the Wave has been breaking. They've done it. They broke through. They crashed over it, and Blue losing a duel to a Brigitte while he had the tech visor up. That I'm not gonna say anything, but that should maybe tell you a little bit about what Brigitte does sometimes. Yeah, don't try to if you're a DPS. No, but just don't try and duel her as a DPS. That's just something you need to realize. It's not that she's broken, but just don't walk into her, even if you have a tech visor. She's not gonna win it. But yeah, that's fine. They do actually manage to repel them here. It was a nice defense coming out, so they are able to get back in. And look at Flappy Bird has charged another EMP up. They have another self-destruct and a shatter and a nano. They'll be completely fine here.
Exactly, and Flappy Bird, you know,
much trouble because Peep is now once again switched off. This is now on the Zarya, and 1 minute 8 seconds, no charge yet, and 6 or 7% ult charge. That's going to be a rough
position. Look at that, all the way in the top. Now looking for that rare flank.
The shatter.
There it is, the EMP coming in. Phantom Tissue, Sobek and Sixo immediately looking for those targets. 48 seconds on the clock. I think Flappy is just eating up Phantom Tissue, and that just Flappy is just eating up Racist Toaster, getting another 30% towards the next EMP. And you know, after that Paris map, I thought Flappy might not be the best of Sombra picks, but wow, has he or she turned it around right there.
And Flappy wasn't really on the Sombra on Paris, was he? That's neither here nor there. We're gonna see the another attack come in here, and Racist Toaster diving in deep does not get that much value. He's safe on the high ground, and now we'll see the
bomb in the back line. Sansi Baby almost didn't turn around in time there, but manages to just swivel around in the last little bit. Sorry for jumping in there as Sansi goes down to Phantom Tissue. There's the Tranquility coming out, and a Lucio ult at the same time. I don't know why they did the propaganda as Racist Toaster and Peep are now in trouble yet again. Flappy just putting the trigger left and right. That bomb might have just, you know, been a tiny little bit late there, because the overtime is running in. The defense firmly in control right there as Eclipse are showing them how it's done. Only Sansi Baby left to keep the timer up, and when he goes down, that's end of the story.
Yeah, an interesting pick from going for Dorado. Oh, sorry, for Dorado. For going for Gibraltar, and then running this attack composition, then switching off. Once again, there was this, I wouldn't say unwillingness to switch straight away, but they really had this thing where they didn't want to switch or didn't switch quickly enough. It kind of looked the same as their Hollywood defense, where it took them so long to have like formulate a new plan of attack that they just gave so much room and so much ult charge and just resources in general towards the defense that they eventually just kept running into a wall. And you know what happens when a wave crashes onto the shore? I mean, it just falls apart.
Or in this case, the wave crashes into the eclipse and doesn't know what to do with it.
Hey, lunar eclipse. The moon does control the tides, so it is an interesting relation that these teams have, even on a team name basis. That's already.
Aha! Coincidence? Yeah. I think not.
Probably not. No. You could say it's coincidence, but that's something that just doesn't exist in this world, right? Who would think that there's maybe like a larger entity that does something. We do see these. They say they're going with this bunker again on the defense, right? But Peep is now going to be in the soldier because high ground. Raining down damage. Didn't really feel the Widowmaker from Peep. Didn't see a lot of value come out of that. So, yeah, Soldier might just be a better pick in this case. And the mobility also helps a little bit, even though Widowmaker has to grapple.
Yeah, Widowmaker in that case though was very heavily pressured by that Tracer, which is why the early switch had to occur.
Yeah. And then let's on the Tracer himself, and then a lot of things happen.
Back on that monkey, just finding that hallway and just going straight for Peep, looking for that fight with that Mercy in the back line. You as a monkey have so much room to maneuver. I mean, Phantom Tissue just pelting into that shield there for a second. Let's see what they're going to do with that early with that early jump.
Yeah, can they get past? Oh, they get Jazz Amazing! Jazzwing goes down. That's big. No res coming in. Cooper and Sixo and Sobek also go down though. So this fight looks already to be over, but they get the payload past this place.
Tissue just standing on the payload, surfing the wave as everyone else is going. Where's that thing moving?
Oh, gets out. Does he get out? No, I guess DMAC'd. Oh, that's a shame.
That is a shame. That is definitely a shame, because, losing that mech, then you have a Baby D.Va that, essentially doesn't really do a lot, which is why a lot of pro teams just let the Baby D.Va live and just wait it out because you have a longer time without that big-ass robot in your face.
It's that stagger potential, yeah. 86% towards the new mech, 88, 89. We'll get it back in time. But they've pushed this card.
Those almost went down, though, right there. Still,
that's a big thing, though. The mech's gone. That's actually quite huge.
Sobek jumping in straight away. Sobek and Phantom Tissue firmly in control now of the real estate. Blank's still up top with Sansi Baby, the only one jumping down. I didn't know why you would jump down there and leave your flank for Blue right there in that way. Blank in trouble. There's the propaganda. Echo and Echo going down together with Blank. Blue maybe using that visor a bit too early right there as Peep goes with the counter. And manages to at least stall it a tiny bit, but not hold it off. I don't know why Pete fired it at all, with that much, how do you say, disadvantage in the body count.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is maybe that sure he'll die for it, but if he can take two with him, then they have a stronger chance of maybe defending again.
Look at Sobek, self-destruct. Target there, that's a huge bomb! Jazzwing and Blank and Sansi Baby going down. Phantom Tissue just using Sobek as a wrecking ball to just go in and make room for that big explosion. Fantastically played right there.
And once again, we see Breaking Wave switching off hero after hero, using all those ultimates that they potentially had built up. Blank going low, Sansi Baby going low, and there will be attack visor from Blue, there will be a Transcendence, there will be a Valkyrie. I don't see how they can hold this.
No, and that was a very defensive bomb here by Racist Toaster. Let's see what's going to happen. 6 low now on the Iris, using it more defensively. I don't know whether or not that's optimal value for that ultimate, because as you said earlier, you're basically invincible that way. But we'll see what's going to happen now. As Sobas jumps back in, trying to find Echo. There's another one of those EMPs by Flappy. Absolutely huge. As 3 heroes go down, and immediately that payload just keeps on moving. Racist Toaster standing there as a big old blank trying to fire the High Noon, but to no avail. Blue finding a lot of targets here, really liking what he's doing with his timer there.
Yeah, Blue finally throwing out the tech visor, not really getting that much value out of it just yet. Had been holding it onto it for the entire map, just never needed it. But yeah, it's gonna finish it off here, and this was Breaking Wave's map pick as well.
I mean, that is a disrespect right there. I mean, Blue though had a lot of kills done without that without that visor, and fired the visor twice to questionable logic. But apparently didn't really need it.
No, he tried to sort of do something with it, and the Wrecking Ball came to his face, and the Mercy almost barely escaped with the Valkyrie. So he almost got value from it, but just not quite. But that's fine. I mean, sometimes you don't. The Soldier Ultimate's not one that's often very impactful. Sometimes you see it to help with a lot of cleanup, but it doesn't often happen, especially without the nano boost to help it out to really get that much value out of it. But like I said, this was the pick from Breaking Wave, and we are going to go out for a 5th map now because it is a 2-2 situation, which is maybe not what we were expecting after those first 2 maps.
Absolutely not. I mean, it took a while for Echo for Solar Eclipse to find their sea legs apparently, but they have clawed their way back into this one with a vengeance, and I have to say, once again, I am very, very impressed with both these teams, you know, just going all out for this bid. I mean, this is just week 1, but if this is what we're going to be seeing, this kind of fighting spirit, I'm super excited.
I'm super excited, and I mean, we're gonna go to a map 5 here, and once again, like I said, you know, it's always heavy to see that happening, but map 5, I mean, it doesn't happen that often.
Exactly.
I don't know. But honestly, I mean, once again, I'm just surprised that after those first 2 maps, because the first map, Ilios, went very dominantly to Breaking Wave. It was 100 to 0, 100 to like 8 or 11%. It wasn't a lot of room to work with. Then Paris was, I mean, they just managed to cap almost like 1.5 points basically, and then they just full health the other point, so that looked a little less dominant, but still, you know, quite safe. Then on Hollywood, it was relatively close. I mean, both teams could have potentially done something on their second attack. And then on Gibraltar, we get to this more Solar Eclipse favored matchup. So we go all the way across the spectrum, where we start on Breaking Wave being very, very dominant, and we go all the way to Solar Eclipse looking very, very good. And now the question is, where are we going to end up? Because, you know, if the trend continues, we should just have a dominant victory from Solar Eclipse here. We could just have a complete turnaround of Breaking Wave do it, or we could end up somewhere in the middle, where it's going to be
what are your
close.
predictions?
We go to like the 3rd point. I don't know. It's hard because if we go to if we go to another place, I don't know where we're going to go, because I think we're going to go to another control map, and I don't know which ones we're actually supposed to be playing.
Well, they are checking right now.
Yeah,
whether or not we've set it up correct.
I think map 5 is just always the same map. I don't think anyone actually picks it. So I think we're just going to be playing Oasis regardless. And what I think is interesting about it is that within Ilios, you often have the opportunity to have a little bit more DPS comps, especially on Well, which it didn't is the point. But on Oasis, there is only on University, DPS is a little bit weaker. But when you get to Gardens, when you get to City Center, that's where these mobile, divey DPS type competitions really come into play. Sombra is a very good hero on the map. Fire works very well. And both of these teams have been able to work with those picks. But Breaking Wave was they very, very much stuck to their 3-3 when they were still in Ilios. And they're still going to do that on Oasis. Then the question is who executes it better, because Solar Eclipse's DPS on Ilios didn't look that strong, but then they've switched up a few heroes, so they no longer have Flintlass in their part in their Ares, and then their Chora Crawler is now not in there anymore. They keep switching things around,
Well, there's one. There's
Actually, we
one
get Farden
thing.
back. Farden, we can actually get back. So Sobek's going to get switched out. I'm not sure if I would completely agree with that because I think Sobek's been doing a brilliant job. That's another
plus,
thing.
plus on control, that monkey is devastating. Let's be perfectly
Yeah, and
honest here.
especially on Oasis. I think Oasis is the map where besides University, Monkey is and just Winston general is just a very good hero to run.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what I think. Definitely, we're going to see a bit more summer out of Flappy Bird. I think that's definitely something they saw works.
Please.
So
If I have a wish list, that is definitely on there. I need to make one point though. Looking at the
Yes.
maps that we have played is one thing. The Eclipse is good with payload maps, and any map that hasn't been a payload, the Wave of One. So
they've been a bit struggling. Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna go out and say that the Waves have this time.
True, but then again, Hollywood First Point, that is also like a quite a static point, and they both struggle a little bit on that. But then you can't set up a defense with those bunkers. I'm curious to see what's going to happen because I really don't know. And my main question I'm mainly curious to see what both teams are going to run right now because we saw a very successful 3-3 on Ilios, but they don't really look that interested to running it this time for breaking wave. So I don't know what the logic is because they're going to go with. If this is what they're going to go with, that's a very unorthodox composition. I don't really know what that's going to do for them.
Well, I like it, honestly. I mean, looking at.
I like it. I just don't know what to do with it. I just don't know.
Yeah, there's not a lot of data. You do not compute. I mean, the Far Mercy is an obvious choice. You have a lot of open space in this thing, not a lot of corridoring, so you can do some proper damage with that. Even though blue on that McCree must be bloody terrifying in the long run. 6-0 going down though, as Blank finds Flappy Bird there as well. Flappy Bird now on the Tracer rather than on the Sombra. We'll see whether or not that's going to bite them in the long run, as Farthen is trying to get his team to safety, loses his life for that. Thank you, sir. Your contribution has been very, very welcome. Your service has been noted. And Flappy Bird now on the Sombra. Let's see what's going to happen. Firmly in control though, Breaking Wave. Like I said, I don't expect the Eclipse to be as dominant as they have in the last couple of maps because there's just not a payload where they can work around. Jaswings is taking Pete back up, so the Far Mercy complete yet again and just pelting it into that center pagode in order to get at least that main entrance properly set down. Racist Toaster is making a lot of distraction stuff happen right now as it jumps into 4-5 people before finally being hacked. Very well done there and actually able to survive that jump into 5 people. Good call on getting that Hammond in there. Blue finding Blank and still firmly in control on the defense here. Early pick and then just hold this point. Oh,
Nice
there
shot
is
comes
in. Coming in, but Peep answering that with the justice raining from above. The Orisa ultimate is actually just holding it up with the bongo bong. And only Flappy Bird, for some reason, seems to be able to survive this onslaught. Very unconventional comp, but very effective. What do you say?
I mean, Blank was just saving it there because the charge came in on Sansi Baby, but because Blank had been rezzed back up, could just flash the flash Farten, so the follow-up didn't actually hit. Yes, he hit the pin, but it didn't actually land on the wall. So that meant Sansi Baby could just turn it all the way around, take down Farten in response, and throw out the bongos.
Exactly, there's a High Noon versus an EMP bomb combination. Neither of them finding any targets though. Blank going immediately for Flappy Bird. Racist Toaster using those bombs to get both the supports right there. And suddenly Eclipse are looking a lot worse than they were just a few seconds before that. Farthen finding a couple of targets and actually clobbering a Farah out of the sky. And at 99%, we're going to see a switch of real estate.
Yeah, and both teams lost their supports first, but it was actually Breaking Wave losing them, well, first and foremost. And then it kind of came down to who got the better trades afterwards, and the tanks are usually just easier to stay alive with, getting more health points, etc. And Phantom Tissue with Farten was able to grab that back, but now they're in the defensive position, and that they're a little bit easier to play against Larissa when she has to come to you.
Yes, but you should not. You should not try to have a standard static setup when that racist toaster can just come in and boop it to Kingdom Come. Okay, Flappy Bird finding blank right away, so getting that off angle clear immediately. Very well done. Blue finding Peep there, as now both these hitscan DPSs are earning their sandwiches, if you will. Racist toaster on those bombs. There's a shatter, but not going very far, as Racist Toaster has just made sure that you cannot pass.
Yeah, and Jazzwing, while the res was actually cancelled out, does manage to get out alive, so is able to still heal everything up. And that's just proving to be problematic. They're gonna have the 99. OT is gonna start up though, so is anyone gonna make it back in time? No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah.
Oh, well done there. Well done there. I mean, the decision from Peep to fire his justice just there, I was thinking maybe it wasn't such a good idea. They might have another push in them, but at that point, it became clear that, with that short of an OT timer, they did a good job at the end of the day.
Yeah, but it was a lot closer than we saw the maps of Ilios be. No 100 to 0, no 100 to, like, this is up 20%, so... Yeah. Looking a little bit better on the side of Lunar Eclipse here. They did need to make some adjustments a little bit quicker. I think that's where the main problem with these teams lies, that they're not able to adjust on the fly as easily. But now they're going to have this... Okay, so the 2-2-2 is going to come out, or 3-2-1 is going to come out from Lunar Eclipse using the Pharmacy instead of like having a Sombra, what you usually see. So no Zenyatta. And we again see the same thing coming out on the other side, but this time they have blank on the Hanzo, not on the McCree.
Exactly. Farting on the Reinhardt yet again. I'm still wondering whether or not that was the best call to make, to get a static Reinhardt into a control point kind of situation. But we'll see what happens. Getting pulled back, able to take flank and just smash him into the wall though. That was one hell of a beautiful shot. Phantom Tissue taking it up there with that great amount of all charge. So we'll see what is going to happen. As for the first time, the Eclipse take the the advantage. Exactly.
Yeah, and they're already ticking up very nicely, so that defensive thing comes in, and once again, they were looking very well when they had to come to them. Farting on this Reinhardt going very low, just to get taken out, so now the fight might be turning around here.
We'll see. Peep immediately firing the Justice, but getting shot down here by Flappy, who is not taking any of his shit. Fantastically done for both Pharos, who are giving us an air superiority fight that is worth watching. Racist Toaster being jammed in there by Farden, but getting out of there. Jazzwing with the launched ultimate, keeping the team alive, but not really getting any real estate done right there. Trying to get that res off, not able to, as 6-0 punishes that positioning.
Yeah, they tried to maybe cover it a little bit with the mines, wasn't enough. Peep does take down 6-0, so maybe a little bit of a trade, but it does look like Peep is going to have to just back off a little bit here.
Exactly, and Cooper immediately negates that, there's just a lot of body advantage right there.
Look at the ults as well. Look at that. Yes. Just 5 lights versus maybe 2 or 3. It's not looking well. Nice grab coming out. Is the follow-up there. There's the barrage. Does look like they're getting enough kills out of it.
Fight! Getting Jazzwing and just smashing it with his axe. Fantastically done. So this looks solidly like a revenge grudge match from that earlier control point Ilios fight.
And they still have so many ultimates aligned. They still have 3, 6 going well towards that sound barrier. And there's only 2 DPS ultimates on the other side. They do take down Flappy Bird early, so that could be very...
Oh, and Blanca though, with a nice flank there as he takes it down. Sansi baby, and now in control. Racist Toaster. This turned around in nanoseconds. Fantastic off-angle attack by Blank. I have to say, it could have been worse if it would have gone down a bit earlier, but damn, that was nasty.
It was actually so funny because Fart did that shatter and wanted to charge someone into the wall, and he boops into the other side, and instead of his target, he actually gets Jazz Wing to the wall still. It was a little bit of a funny interaction there. We do see Sansby maybe setting up for a flank shot, even though he don't have it yet, but that's not
He's
necessary.
taking 6-0 and Flappy down though with a justice. Racist going in. Racist, terribly sorry. Well, your name is racist. Sorry. Sansa Baby and Peep cleaning it up, and suddenly the wave in control. So this might be over quicker than it initially looked at, but another 60% to go. So we'll see what the Eclipse can do. Will they be able to take this point back? Will they actually make some changes to make that happen? Well,
yeah, they do. They put Flappy on the McCree. I think that's a nice touch. They definitely dealt better with the fire when they hit scan on the previous point. So they're just looking to get that done again, just to pressure Peep out.
Sansa going in aggressively though there. There's a sound wave that has been more or less forced, because that could have been a lot worse than it was at the end of the day. Sansa now in full control, is nanoed, is being perma-healed by that Battle Mercy, and suddenly that Sansa is just swinging hammers and taking names. Farthen finally able to stop that, and at the end of the day, it does look as if, you know, the Eclipse has to give up this attack yet again, even though they started with such a nice pressure two-pronged approach here.
Yeah, and definitely Flappy were doing a lot of work on that McCree. Actually died to blank in the end from another flank, but nice shatter, nice charge, and it's just the follow-up is there. They're not going to be able to touch.
I know, not finding any targets. A lot of ults just flying all the way, but it's done.
That was a little bit of an anticlimactic end, actually, like in a lot of ways. So
yeah, I thought we would get a nice bundle, jump in, clutch moment, you know. But it didn't really happen. But Farthen here, looking a lot better than on Ilias at the start, I have to say. I mean, this nice positioning, nice pressure right there, and then you just end up in the back line. And as a Reinhardt, that's just a piñata party.
Yeah, I mean, Farden had a lot of charges, and he just got a little bit more value out of them this time than he did on Ilios, so that's always good to see. I mean, that's basically what you have to do, because if you don't get the value out of those charges, then why even play Reinhardt anymore, right? No. You hear it often, though. Like, Reinhardt's going a little bit too aggressive, so like, oh, you have to unbind your shift key, because otherwise you can just keep charging, or you like, bind it to something that's a little more like harder to press, so you don't just accidentally just keep pressing it out of like an automatic reaction.
Hell no.
But Farden really one of those Reinhardt just keeps going forward and then gets behind them, like you said. And you know that doesn't always work out. At some point, you really need to get that back, get that positioning a little bit better. But we had a good series. I mean, both teams definitely showed up. Like I said, a little bit of an anticlimactic end. I really thought it was going to be like a lot of proper fight, but they just were ready. They went aggro. They went all the way to their spawn, just making sure that nothing could come back.
Exactly. And to be perfectly honest, you know, I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I mean, both Solar Eclipse, Breaking Wave, showing their strengths there. I think in the future of this series, watch for Solar Eclipse on those payload. Because what they do is take the real estate, put the pressure in, keep the pressure in. Fantastic. And something we should see in the future. Well, if there's anyone out there watching, and I hope there is, thank you so much for joining us this evening for the OCC match in week 1. It has been an absolute blast. Before we sign out, my name is the Mansa, and with me, the wonderful, the amazing, the knowledgeable, and the very beardy man of class,